All right, everybody. Can you hear me? Give me a chat. If you can hear me, say yes. Who said let's start? So, finally. Wow, Amy Hernandez. Was that Amy? Slow down. Gina Brown said I'm the best. Gina Brown wins today. We got some impatient people, and then we got Gina Brown. Good to see all of you too. Guess what? We start a few minutes late to let all of your fellow sisters and brothers in real estate actually get onto the webinar because they show up late. So, good to see everybody today. Thank you for having me. The content's going to be worth it even if you had to wait for a few minutes. All right, so thanks for filling out that poll. Looks like we got a whole lot of new people on here that have not seen us or our training before, so you're in for a treat today. All right, so my name is Dale Archdekin. I'm the founder of Smart Sales Coaching, and we are the #1 scripting and dialogue training company in the real estate industry for 9 years running now. So today we're talking about why should you be my agent? We're talking about value propositions, and I'm going to get into this with you guys. 8. Thank you, Bill. I'm not super good with math. Let's go to... Let me find my proper slides, everybody. There it is. Okay. Slideshow. So we already answered who is new here. That's the next question on the slide. There we go. Okay, great. Most of you are new here. Our sales training is the best content in the industry right now, and here's why. I'm just going to tell you where this information comes from, the experience. So my partners and I built and scaled a team to over 30 agents and over 650 transactions per year. We were one of the top 5 KW mega teams for about 4 years running. A lot of these systems and the training, the content, the material, the methodologies that I'm going to be teaching you come from that experience. And within that, I built and optimized an inside sales department. So, of course, it took a while of like screwing it up and wasting money and not doing it the right way until I finally got it optimized, got it working properly, got it all figured out. And at that point, I was able to take a stranger off the street with no real estate experience, no sphere of influence, combine them with our training and our lead mix, and they were able to produce 36 to 60 transactions per person in their first 12 months, which is a massive undertaking. So, how many of you selling 36 to 60 homes in a year would make a big difference for you? I personally took between 5 to 7 listings every single month as an outbound cold calling prospector for sale by owners, expireds, for rent by owners. So I've actually done the work myself. I know what it's like to make thousands and thousands of cold calls and follow-ups and objection handle and get appointments booked, show up for appointments, get the contracts, overcome more objections, and get the deal sold. I know what it's like to do that, so I can train those things to people. And now my company trains thousands of agents per year, including clients that we have that are in the top 5% of the Real Trends list of 1,000 mega teams. We have clients all over the US and Canada. So this is why our training content is the best in the industry, because it comes from real world, in the streets, boots on the ground experience. Why I'm telling you this stuff? Here's why. Because anybody can tell you how to talk to leads. Anybody can say that they are a sales trainer. Anybody can tell you how to have a sales conversation. The problem is that most trainers and gurus in our industry talk from theory. And in fact, there's a lot of them who have actually never sold real estate before, which seems pretty crazy to me. So I've personally done it for many years. My agents and my ISAs were very successful using our techniques and strategies that we developed, battle-tested strategies and techniques. And our students now are very successful doing these things as well. So this is where the information's coming from. And today I'm going to give you a sample of our high quality training right now for free. And at the end, I'm going to offer you a 12-week appointment boot camp. Does that sound fair? If that is fair, chat in fair for me. There we go. Okay. I'm going to tell you, I just want to start here. I know we're talking today about value propositions or essentially why should you be my agent? Why should I buy with you? Why should I list with you? And we're going to get to that part. But first, I want to talk about why you aren't hitting your goals. So if you did not hit your goals last year, or you know that you could have done better, you could have sold more last year, chat in me. Chat it in. Chat in me. The reason I'm doing this is I want everybody else to see how common this is. That's the reason I'm asking you for these responses. So that's pretty normal. And, probably this year, I would say that I'm going to assume that 70 to 80% of you are not on track to hit your goals this year yet either, so far, right? We're 4 months into the year and we have almost half the year done already. And if you aren't on track to hit your goals, it's the same reason that you didn't hit your goals last year. And here's what I can tell you from my experience is that if you didn't hit your goals and you're not on track, it's literally because you're not going on enough appointments every week. It comes down to that. You aren't going on enough appointments every week in order to hit your goals. And if you aren't going on enough appointments, you probably aren't making enough asks in the right way. And if you aren't making enough asks in the right way, it's probably for one of the following reasons. So what we did is we polled over 4,000 agents in my company. So I have a database of 30,000 agents. And we sent out a poll and we said, hey, what are the biggest things that are in your way from setting more appointments every week? And these were the answers that we got back. A lack of motivation, lack of or fear of rejection, not enough leads, leads aren't good, don't know who to contact, not enough time, don't know what to say, leads don't respond, can't overcome objections, and trouble staying on track. These are the most common answers across 4,000 people. So what that means is that these are very common issues that we're all dealing with, all of us as real estate agents, and I'm still a licensed real estate agent. And I can boil those issues down into three main categories. This is what it comes down to. This is the difference between you and achieving your goals. Is a lack of lead conversion skills. That's the big one, and that's part of what we're talking about today is skills. A chaotic and unproductive schedule. How many of you, your schedule goes wild, you feel out of control of it, you aren't doing the things you said you were going to do, you aren't hitting your time blocks? Chat in me if that's you. Yep, for the most part. And then an inefficient lead conversion process. So there's three big things that we see when we bring a new student into my company. And typically that's that you have subpar skills. You don't have really sharp skills around getting into conversations, overcoming objections, asking for appointments, and articulating your value, which is what we're working on. Your schedule is either not written down, non-existent, or you don't follow it, so it's completely irrelevant. And an inefficient lead conversion process. If I asked you to open up your CRM right now, open up Sierra, show me how you use it, show me how you effectively get through your leads in the limited amount of lead gen time that you have, show me your process. I guarantee you that your process is not very clean if you even have one, and there's probably a lot of wasted time. So today we're going to be, out of those three issues, we're going to be working on skills. And under the umbrella of skills, over the 8 years that we've been doing training for teams and brokerages across the world, we've really distilled it down into 4 key skill sets that you have to develop first. We start on those before we get any fancier with fancier scripting and dialogue or sales techniques and strategies. And the 4 are introductions, how you get into a conversation with a prospect, with a lead, with old leads, with any type of lead source, right? And it doesn't matter whether it's internet leads, face-to-face, open houses, events, cold calling, cold prospecting, door knocking, whatever it is, it's introductions. The next biggest skill set is objections. How you approach dealing with a prospect saying, no, not yet, not with you, not under these circumstances. Then closing for appointments. This is a massive one. Being able to to set up a logical appointment and ask for an appointment is really kind of the lifeblood. You notice that I said, if you aren't hitting your goals, you aren't going on enough appointments every week. Well, you have to be able to ask for those appointments and you have to be able to get a yes to those appointments. How you set up and ask for an appointment is probably 90% of whether you get a yes or a no. And again, that comes back, that's skill set. And then value propositions. And value propositions is what we're going to be working on today. So part of this system, so we have a whole lead conversion scripting dialogue system. These are the basic building blocks, and we're going to be talking about value propositions today. Okay, let's get into it. Value propositions. I want you to think about it this way. Let's say that you were talking to a lead, whether it's a buyer or seller, and you're having a conversation with them, you're starting to get a little bit of information from them, but then they shut you down and they say, hey, thanks for the call, but listen, I know a lot of agents. Why should I buy a house with you instead of one of them? Right? Or you're talking to a seller. You're starting to get some information, talking to them about what they're going to do, about their house, et cetera, et cetera. And then at some point in the conversation, they kind of say, hey, listen, you know what? I appreciate your time, but I know a lot of agents. Why would I list my house with you instead of one of them? Your answer to that question is your value proposition. Here's why you should list your home with me. Here's why you should choose me as your buyer's agent. Here's why you should buy a home with me. So how many of you would love to come up here as a panelist and demonstrate for the rest of the audience your answer to why a prospect should buy or sell with you? If that sounds terrible, chat in, not me. If doing that right now live on this webinar sounds terrible, chat in, not me. And again, I want you to see how many people feel uncomfortable to do this. Would you guys agree that the ability to answer that question, hey, here's why you should list your home with me, here's why you should choose me as an agent, would you agree that it's probably important as a salesperson to be able to answer that question, yes or no? Is it critically important to be able to answer that question? Yes, it's critically important to be able to answer that question. I'm pretty sure that almost none of you have ever been taught how to do that. Taught how to create a statement for it, taught how to deliver the statement, and then had to practice on how to deliver that statement. So that's the reason that we focus on one of these as our core skills, because you should be able to answer that question. And I'm sure that if I role played with you guys, or even if I listened to your calls, I'm sure that in some ways you kind of do answer the question. If you're trying to get an appointment or you're trying to convince somebody to work with you instead of some other agent, or even consider you, because I've heard these calls. I've been a sales manager and trainer for a very long time now. I've heard these conversations. And so I know that you guys kind of squeeze something out when you have to, but wouldn't you rather have a really great statement, a powerful one that you can deliver on demand without anything else around you, with no prompting, just like that, if you had to? What would that do for your confidence? How much would it increase your confidence if you could easily answer that question at any time for any person under any circumstances and out of the blue, right? As a surprise. That would make you massively confident. That's just one of the basic concepts that we teach in my company. And so if you listen to some of the students that we have, you'd be shocked. You'd be like, oh my God, that's crazy. They sound fantastic. Well, there's only two pieces to it. There's a structure to how you do it, and then there's practicing it. And you can sound amazing when you do that. So I'm going to show you how that works now. And a big part of what we do in my company, first of all, when it comes to scripting and dialogue, and this is what sets us apart from other sales training companies. If you go to any other sales training company, or let me ask you a question. You guys have seen all sorts of scripting. You've seen all sorts of training. I'm sure you've seen live presentations where salespeople are role playing, right? Haven't you noticed how most of the scripting and dialogue, whether it's stuff that your broker printed off the internet, or whether it was something free that they gave you, or whether it was some, traveling show that came to town and did a stage presentation for you, Haven't you noticed how a lot of the scripting and dialogue sounds like old 1960s door-to-door vacuum cleaner sales stuff? Like the really slimy, manipulative salespeople trickery that is you can see through like rice paper. Have you guys noticed that stuff? Chat in yes if you've noticed that. Chat in yes. Okay. Now let's do this. I want you to tell me, everybody, chat in for me, what's one thing you hate about salespeople? Because we're all salespeople. Well, we're all salespeople, but we're also all consumers, right? What's one thing you hate about salespeople? Pushy, overly aggressive. Look at all the pushies. Look at all the pushies that show up. Yeah? Do you know what pushy really represents? It's doesn't take no for an answer. But the point is, look at all of these things that we hate about salespeople. So here's what we do in my company instead. We focus on what is the consumer thinking? Where's the consumer's head at? What do they want to know? Or what would they prefer not for us not to do? So we use that perspective first. The old school sales tactics are, I'm the salesperson, this is what I want, I'm going to browbeat you into agreeing with me, or I'm going to make you feel stupid, and I'm just going to stay there and keep hammering you until you either give up, or you hang up the phone, or you close the door, or you call the police to get me out of your house. That's the old school stuff. Here's what we do in modern times, because all of us consumers are much smarter, right? We're much smarter. We have the internet. We've been through many years of these old school sales tactics. We just won't put up with it anymore. So instead, what we do now, and not only that, but as a salesperson, I don't like talking like that to people. It doesn't feel good to me. So I want to have a nice, productive, mutually beneficial interaction with the consumer. But I do have to stay there in the conversation. I do have to keep going. And in some cases, I have to explain to them why they should work with me, why they should choose me over the other people in the market, and what they're going to get out of it. So I want to approach them from where they're at in their mindset. And so if we're talking about value propositions, it's the consumers trying to figure out, or you're trying to tell them why they should work with you, why they should choose you. They're trying to figure out, why should I choose you, right? And here's some questions that they have in their mind. Why should I choose you? Why should I trust you? What will I get out of it? What is the upside to me? What's the advantage? What is the result that I'm going to get as the consumer if I pick you out of a crowded field of salespeople, right? Because don't we all look at salespeople the same as consumers? If I said car salesman or car salesperson to you, you just have one idea of a car salesperson, right? We condense them down into just this concept. And if I said, what's the purpose of a car salesperson? You're going to say, to sell me a car, right? We condense them down into a singularity. So if you want the consumer to consider you, to step out of the crowd, to be that one, to be different, you have to answer these three questions. Why they should choose you, why they should trust you, and what they'll get out of it, or the results that they're going to get. So your value proposition does that for you, right? Your value proposition is your statement. Here's why you should buy a home with me. Here's why you should list your home with me. And it's pretty obvious when we get down to a seller presentation, right? You use it in your seller presentation, and you guys probably have some paragraphs or some longer written stuff for your seller presentations. And your buyer presentations, you probably have some paragraphs or something written out about what you're going to do, what the process looks like. And if you don't, you need to have those things. And then on the flip side of that, elevator pitch is what we call it. It's that thing that you would say, how you would just basically answer that question of why you should buy or sell with me. And here's what I think. Every salesperson should have a basic buyer statement and a basic seller statement. Then once you have a basic statement and you have it practiced and you can deliver it, then it sets you up to do it in a customized way. So if you think about it this way, your customized close should be customized to whoever you're talking to, whatever that prospect's needs or wants are, right? But in order to have a nice customized close, you need to practice your basic elevator pitch to where you could answer that question on the blue from out of the blue for me. So what you do, here's how you build an elevator pitch. On the left, I have a couple of generic results that a buyer would be looking for, right? Save money, great deal, save time, likelihood of success, avoid issues, alleviate fears. On the right, we have some basic seller results that they're looking for. Save, make money, save time, likelihood of success, right? Avoid issues, alleviate fears, whatever it may be. You take 2 or 3 of the buyer results and you take 2 or 3 of the seller results, and then you write a statement for each one. And here's the format that we use for the statement. I, we, or my team, with our knowledge, experience, or process, give you result, 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 right? So this is the structure that you put it under. And this is an important structure because, as I showed you on that first slide, every consumer is thinking, what am I going to get out of it, right? Is there for what reason would I choose you? There's thousands of you in the market, and every consumer probably knows 2 to 5 other real estate agents. So why would they choose you? Well, it comes down to the results. What are you going to be able to get them? And I just showed you on the previous slide kind of some of the generic results that buyers look for and the generic results sellers look for. So you write this statement, you hang it on this format. And the other important part about the format is, one of those bullet points said, why should I trust you? Sometimes if you said, hey, why should I work with you, real estate agent? And that agent said, because I'm the best. There's not enough information there. Everybody's the best. Everybody's the number one, right? There's just not enough evidence there. How are you going to prove that you're the best? What does being the best mean? Or what do I get out of you being the best, right? Why should I believe that you're the best? So the statement is too short, if that makes sense. Versus sometimes what I see is the statement is too long. Oh, well, you should buy with me because I'll take you out on 10 showings. We'll see 5 houses each time, and we'll keep a list of the top ones. And then when we find one that we want to make an offer on, I'll write up all the paperwork. We'll send it back and forth. Once it's all ready, I'll submit it to the sellers. I'll explain to them what you're saying. Too much. You're in the weeds, right? That's way too much about how the sausage gets made, and people get lost. So between I'm the best and the full in the weeds experience, there's a nice happy middle, right? I want a nice tight narrative that tells me it's a nice arc, right? Hey, this is who I am, or this is who we are. This is my team. This is our structure, or this is the entity. Here's the experience or the process or the knowledge that we have. And because of that, we've been able to put together a method for you to get this result and get this result and avoid this thing. That is a nice tight narrative between the two extremes. And so I'm just going to show you how that looks now. Does that make sense? Chat in yes if that makes sense. Okay. Good. So I'm going to just show you some examples. When you take those results, when you hang them on this framework and you make a nice narrative, it kind of looks like this. So I just did a live training for a team in Tampa. I think they were the #1 team in Tampa. And I wrote this to train their agents on. Prospect says, why should I buy a house with you? Oh, you know what? Great question. I've been helping home buyers through the buying process for the last 15 years. I'm also on the #1 team in Tampa. What that means for you is that my team and I give you the most access possible to homes both on and off the market and bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to ensure that you find the best home, get it at the best price possible without losing it to the other buyers competing for homes right now. That's what this narrative kind of sounds like, right? And there's some key elements in here. You'll notice the I, we, or my team. I said I, and I'm on the #1 team. And if you don't have stats like that, use whatever you have. And then importantly, there's a thing, I want you to write this down. Write down, so what? So if I had just left it at, I'm on the #1 team in Tampa, you could think, so what? What does that mean? What does that mean for me? What does that mean for the prospect? So what if you're on the number one team? So what if you've sold 200 houses? So what if you have 10 plastic trophies on your shelf? What does that mean for the consumer? What does that mean for the prospect? You have to explain it to them. You'll see that I wrote that in here. What that means for you is my team and I, here's the things you get. My team and I give you blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then you'll see the results. What are the results? You get the most access to homes. You get a wealth of knowledge and experience, which ensures you find the best home. That's a result. Get it at the best price possible. That's result number 2, without losing it to the other buyers competing for homes. So without losing it is result number 3. Okay, so let's look at this, and we just flip this around for sellers, right? We take the same concept, different statement. Hey, why should I list my home with you? Oh, great question. I've been helping sellers through the selling process for the last 15 years. I'm also on the number one team in Tampa. What that means for you is that my team and I give you the most access possible to the entire market of buyers and bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to ensure you have the best selling experience, avoid the common issues that pop up, and ultimately sell your home for the most money possible. This is just a generic elevator pitch. So imagine if you had a statement like that you could deliver if Dale called you up here and said, hey, come up here, tell me why I should buy a home with you. If you could rattle that off. Come up here, tell me why I should list my home with you, and you could rattle that off. How much more confident would you be? That'd make a huge difference. And then you take these generic statements, right? So now you've got it down, you can do it. You can say this off the cuff, right? It's generic, but you're a good salesperson. So when you're able to, in a conversation, let's say I said, hey, William, I know a lot of agents. We're just trying to decide which way to go. William, who has been through our training, if he comes and joins us, right, would ask, oh, yeah, hey, that makes a lot of sense. You should interview multiple agents before choosing one. I'm just curious, what's most important to you about the agent that you list your home with? What are the factors that you're looking for in your home sale, right? You're going to solicit these things that they want. You're going to solicit the results they want, the things they want to avoid, how they want the process to go. Then you take what they've said, you throw it into your generic statement, and you say, that's amazing that you want those things and you want to avoid that other thing because we specialize in them. Here's how we specialize in them. Here's how we've perfected them. And this is how I'm going to deliver it to you without that thing that you want to avoid over there. So you make a perfect customized statement for people. And this works for anything. Here's one for my company. Dale, why should we train with your company? Why should we consider your 12-week boot camp? Well, my team and I have been training real estate agents and ISAs for over 10 years now on how to set more appointments and close more deals from the leads they already have. We are trusted by the biggest CRMs, website and lead providers in the industry, as well as the top 5% of producing teams on the Real Trends list of 1,000. Our strategies are the best in the industry and can easily double or triple your appointments in just a few weeks. Shameless plug, but you can see how this works, right? Give me a yes, if that makes sense. There we go. Did you guys like my shameless plug? I like my shameless plug. Okay, so let's do this. Do you guys understand elevator pitch? Do we have any questions about how this format works? Any questions? Let me know. Chat it in. We have elevator pitch, which is your basic buyer, seller, right? You develop that for yourself. Take what you have. How long have you been in the business? How many homes have you sold? Have you won any awards? Are you on the biggest team or one of the biggest teams? Are you on the biggest brokerage or one of the biggest brokerages? What's the bragging point of your brokerage? How familiar are you with your area or market? How long have you been there? Back to the buyer slide. Here's this one, John. So take your personal factors, right? And you just bake them into this format here. What if we aren't? I'm new, my paint is still wet. I love it. So Charlie, you're gonna rely on your team or your brokerage And you know, if you were a a lone wolf like me, and you started out on your own and never joined another team, then literally you would just talk about your brokerage if you needed to say anything like that, or you talk about your process. Hold on. So let's say that I didn't have any stats to talk about, that I was just a lone wolf agent. I've sold some houses. You have a great team. Great. You're going to rest on the team. I started out selling solo. Well, I never joined a team, so I've always sold solo. I've always been a solo agent. I formed my own team. So what I did early on is I would talk about my process. Hey, the reason you should buy a home with me, great question. Uh, because of my love for the industry, my knowledge of the area, I've specialized in helping to shepherd my buyers through a 25-step process where I virtually ensure that you get the best home at the best price without accepting poor terms or conditions, and also ensuring that you don't lose it to the other buyers that are out there competing against you right now. So I'd love to show you how our buyer process works and the advantages that you're going to get by working with us. I just made that up off the cuff, right? But I didn't say anything about how many houses I've sold or who my team is or what my broker is. And I just did that off the cuff. So when you do these, and I'm just using this quick format here, if that makes sense. Yes, Renee, it's being recorded right now. Okay, good. So everybody gets the idea of a value proposition. Here are some of the issues that pop up if you don't have a good value proposition or you can't deliver it. You end up in situations where you can't convert the I have an agent type people on the phone, or I'm going to work with somebody else, or I'm considering working with these people. If you don't have a good objection handling process and you don't have a good value proposition, you can really struggle with those. Another place this shows up is if you don't get the BBA or listing agreement signed when you first meet with a new client, a new buyer, or a new seller. If you're having trouble getting these things signed or you're getting pushback on them, you probably don't have a good value statement or you aren't practiced at delivering it. And another place it shows up is if you're getting ghosted after meeting with new buyers or potential sellers, right? You have a good meeting, you have a good conversation, you have a good meeting, things seem great, and then they ghost you or they don't answer you again. Or you just had a good conversation and then they ghost you again. So this can really show up around being able to have that good value proposition. These are the issues that can pop up if you don't. Susie Oliver, can you help with presenting the BBA? Yes, we do all scripting up to booking the appointment and discussing the BBA, presenting the BBA, discussing the BBA, teeing up a conversation about the BBA, all of those kinds of things. All right, good. So how many of you have struggled? Chat in me if you've struggled in these areas. Chat in me if you've struggled in these areas. Yep. Okay. Okay, good. So this is the end of this part here. I'm going to talk about the 12-week boot camp now. Would you like to know more about our training system? Chatting yes if you would like to know more about our training system. Lori Hill, maybe. Okay, so here's the training system is we have a 12-week boot camp. We packaged up the training into a 12-week boot camp. It's scripting, dialogue, schedule, CRM process, the whole nine for 12 weeks. It's a deep immersion where we work with you. And right now I'm doing this as a webinar. But the way that we deliver the material is interactive, right? It's scripting, dialogue, small group with a professional trainer. The professional trainers on Zoom with you, interacting live with you, role playing, practicing, helping correct you, and teaching you from the basics to the intermediate to the advanced things. Lisa Reeves, your team already started. How's the training going, Lisa Reeves? Alexis Adams, we've already done it. because it's phenomenal. Thank you so much, Alexis. I'm glad that you enjoyed it and we made an impact for you. Excellent. Okay, good. So you can see some of the people that are chatting and that are already in the training with us. They love it, or Alexis, who's already gone through it and it keeps coming back. We have a 12-week boot camp. And so there's too much for me to cover here. That's not the point of this. I'm running out of time right now. It really is to just see if you're interested in the 12-week boot camp, and then I'll show you a booking link where you can grab a time on my schedule. We'll jump on Zoom, answer your questions about the boot camp, and then kind of figure out if you're a right fit for it. And then if you are, you have the choice to join the boot camp or not. But I have two questions for you. So if you can answer yes to both of these poll questions, then I'm going to show you a QR code where you can book a time on my schedule for us to talk about it. So I'm going to launch the poll. Just if you can answer yes to both questions, then it makes sense for you. If the answer is no to either one of these questions, then this boot camp probably doesn't make sense for you, and you probably should not. I'm going to say if you say no to either one of these, don't book a time on my schedule. Does that sound good, everybody? Chat in okay if that sounds good. Okay, here we go. So I just dropped the poll. 12-week boot camp has 2 questions on it. I'm going to go through those right now. Question 1. If our system can guarantee that you double your weekly appointments, could you invest at least $125 per week in it? That's the first critical question, because if you can't afford it, if you don't have a budget for it, it doesn't make any sense for us to talk about it. Question number 2. Do you believe that if you improved your sales skills, your consistency, and your CRM process, it would be enough to finally hit your financial goals? If your answer to this is yes, great. Let's jump onto a Zoom call and discuss the boot camp. If your answer to this is no, it's not my skills, or I don't need help with my skills, I need different leads, or I need different this or that, we're not the right fit for you. We are a sales training company. This is what we focus on. It's my belief that the quality of your skills improves along with, the quality of your leads magically improves with the quality of your skills. Just to, the link went away, Monica. If you can't find the poll, Monica, there should be a button in the Zoom window down at the bottom somewhere. It should say polls and quizzes, or there should be like 3 dots and says more. Click on that, go to polls and quizzes, and you should see the poll and be able to answer the poll questions. And if all else fails, Monica, if you can afford $125 a week to invest in your business and you believe that you need help with your skills, your systems, and your consistency, then just drop it in the chat that you want to jump on a Zoom with us to discuss the boot camp. Okay, I've got 18 people out of 53 who have answered the poll. So do me a favor, answer that poll for me, and I will, if I can get, 10 more people to answer the poll, then I will show you guys the QR code where you can book time on my schedule. Actually, I'm just going to go to the next slide. Here you go. If you said yes to question 1 and question 2, book a quick private Zoom with me here. So scan this QR code. We'll talk about the boot camp. I'll tell you what's included, what the bonuses are that come with it, how the content is structured, how it's delivered, and answer any and all questions you possibly have. What do we cover? Do we talk about this? Do we talk about that? How is the content delivered, et cetera, et cetera. So grab that QR code. And then one more time for the poll, if you want to answer the questions. If our system could guarantee that you can double your weekly appointments, could you invest at least $125 a week? Do you believe that if you improved your sales skills, your consistency, and your CRM process, it would be enough to finally hit your financial goals? The poll is up. If you said yes to both of those, you can book a time on my schedule right here. Okay, everybody. Do me a favor. I'm going to end the poll for now. I've got several people that haven't answered, but that's not a big deal. I'm going to end the poll. There we go. If you couldn't find the poll and you want us to reach out to you, just chat in your email address. Say that you want us to reach out to you. We can get it figured out. All right, everybody, do this. Chat in for me. What's one thing that you're taking from today's training? one thing you're taking from today's training. The need for a great elevator speech. Yes. I would say elevator pitch. Ask more direct questions. Love it. Create an elevator pitch. Yep. Create basic buyer seller statement. Yes. Yes, Janice, sharpen the saw. And Janice, book a time to talk to Dale about doing training for your team. Where our gaps are. So what? Do you like that, Charlie? I like so what too. Start running anything that you say to a consumer, like when you're pitching or when you're describing what you do or you're talking about your value or when you're trying to tell them what you're going to do for them. I want you to have so what in the back of your mind because it will improve and it will immediately elevate the things that you say to people. They'll be more punchy and have more effect. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me today. I'm excited to talk to those of you who are planning to join us in the boot camp. April appointments are almost gone. Mara or Mara, I will get to you. I know I only had a couple of appointments. No times available, Monica. Yep. Do this. If there's no times available and you want to talk about the boot camp, we will make it happen. I will make it happen. Just drop your email into the chat and say something like Monica said or something that Mara said. Okay, and I'll make sure that we get around to you. I can make a couple spots open again. Magically. All right, I'm going to leave this slide up. Good seeing you guys. Drop your info in the chat if you're trying to book a time and there's none left. Thank you.